Shoshanim, Olayla yored yored leat, Veruach Shoshan oshva, Hava yashash nakshir belat, Zemet shelah.
Yesterday was what? Yes.
Pearl Harbor?
Yes. Okay, Ms. Sobel. Yesterday was Pearl Harbor Day. So, what really finally happened Pearl Harbor Day, Ms. Sobel?
It brought America into the war.
Okay, and who did it finally give hope to?
The Jews.
Why? Why did it give hope to the Jews? Yes, Charles.
America was a powerful nation.
Okay, and what was the hope?
That they would destroy, they would beat the Nazis, and they would let them go to America.
Our goal is to be educated, our goal is to learn, and our goal is to work together. And we thank Professor Weintrob for this incredible experience that we are learning with you and your students. So I'd like to introduce Professor Weintrob.
A few years ago, we made a decision to create a Holocaust Education Center, and just a few months ago, we decided that we would be collaborating with Manhattan Day School on a number of projects with Holocaust education. I also want to introduce my colleague, Professor Theresa McCarthy. She's a professor in the theater department and also has performed on Broadway. So both of us have worked this semester with the 20 students that you're going to be meeting in a few minutes, who will be showing you some of the stories that they've learned about Nazi Germany and the Holocaust, right? Zachar, remembrance, and our performance today, which is the end of a whole semester of studying Nazi Germany and the Holocaust, is in some ways takes inspiration from a quote from Elie Wiesel. Does everyone know who Elie Wiesel is? Yeah. Who was a Holocaust survivor from Hungary, who became a spokesman for both the Holocaust and human rights, and because of that, he won the Nobel Peace Prize, and also he spoke at Wagner College, the campus where you are now. His call was to whoever hears an eyewitness becomes an eyewitness, and so the idea is, to the extent there still are eyewitnesses and Holocaust survivors, we need to meet with them, we need to listen to their words, we need to remember their words. So our students, starting with Rosh Hashanah, right after the semester started, they had lunch with about a dozen Holocaust survivors. One thing these Holocaust survivors all have in common is that they're from Staten Island, New York. Out of our 20 students, 4 are foreign students, 3 are Jewish students. So this makes this an interfaith undertaking. One of the things you might not realize is how important the Holocaust is outside the Jewish community, that many, many non-Jewish people are very interested in the lessons of the Holocaust and what it means to not be a bystander, what it means to treasure the loss of life and history in the Holocaust and learn those lessons so that we don't repeat them again. So our students have studied, have met with, have heard from survivors, primarily of the Holocaust, but also we had a survivor of the Rwandan genocide come and speak to our class. One of the plays you're going to see here, Tony Kushner's play, actually asked the question of how does fascism happen? How do we go from being in a democracy to suddenly overnight seeing our streets filled with hate? Some people find this incredibly relevant. Right now, as you know, in New York and in New York State, there has been a rise in hate crimes, which makes this work of remembering the Holocaust ever more important, ever more urgent. Students watched for 2 hours. Each student picked a different survivor with a few exceptions, and you'll see the pictures of each of the survivors on the screen. 58,000 Holocaust survivors from something like 60 different countries have given testimony. And when Wagner College decided to create a more formal Holocaust Education Center, we decided we would start with our own community and asked how many of these could have been on Staten Island. And I won't have you guess, but it turned out the number was 40, which is actually quite a lot of stories. Today you're going to hear 15 of those stories. So 15 different survivors our students have studied. Each one has written papers, researched the history of the country, how the Holocaust happened, how it affected the life of that person from before the war to after the war. To talk a little bit about the process of creating the monologues, this very amazing technique that the students have actually not just studied the survivors, but have taken into their bodies the words of the survivors, is an acting technique that Professor McCarthy worked with the students for many weeks to improve. Do you want to say a few words about the spirit of the monologue?
The way that we worked on the monologue is the same way that the great theater artist Anna Devere Smith creates her documentary pieces about real life people. Taking our students, we also studied our individual survivor. Each student took their video recording and watched it over and over and over again, made notes about what was needed to perfect the accent and the tone of voice and the gestural life of the person who was speaking the monologue. And then we practiced in front of one another. It's a very, I think it's a very humble approach. I think it's respectful of the real life person who they are portraying. And I believe that it is a kind of practice that will imprint the story on the individual speakers. So these students, many of whom have never acted before, don't even want to be actors necessarily. Many of them are acting for the first time through these real stories from real live people. And I think that it really has an effect. It gets inside.
My mother was very sick. I was so sick I couldn't even walk. I crawled. My mother had diarrhea. I crawled on my floor to get something. We were freed already, but we were still in the dirt with the lice, and the lice were crawling all over. And I went to, they said raw potatoes would make her stomach stop.
Where did you get the raw potatoes?
That was already, we were freed already.
Can you tell us when it was? Do you
April,
remember the exact day of
April
the
15th. April 15th. And this was probably the 16th, 17th, but I crawled, I couldn't walk.
Who liberated you?
I think they were the English. I'm not sure if it was the English or the American.
Did they give
I think the English.
The day after liberation, did they bring you any food?
That's what I said. They gave the wrong food.
Can you tell us what it was?
They gave canned food, beans with meat, everything we weren't supposed to eat because we were all hungry, starved, and people died from diarrhea very fast, like flies.
Were there any other illnesses than that?
I know my mother had typhus.
Was this a disease in the camp?
Yeah, I ate it too. And she died with the raw potatoes in her mouth. But before then, she said, you're gonna go home and you're gonna meet your brother. But you're never gonna see, I'm not coming home. And you don't want to see your sister. She told me that.
These were her last words to you?
Yeah, and then she just fell asleep in the middle of the night.
Where were you when this happened?
In Bergen-Belsen.
Were you in a building?
I was in the room, sitting.
How much after liberation was this?
She died 2 weeks exactly. April 27th.
Do you...
Still in the field.
The English and the
Belgian.
left you
In the field.
other than food. Did they do anything else for you?
Nothing. And it was quite a few days after my mother died, and I told them, cover her, she's gonna be cold. She died with a potato in her mouth.
Do you know what happened to her body?
Was put on a mountain of bodies. Was cremated, I think. I don't know.
Could you describe your situation after your mother died?
I was lonely, and this thing, what I see with my mother, even. I didn't want to cry. Even when I am happy and I do anything here with the kids that I do, that picture is always here. I speak to you, that picture is always here. When she died, near me.
We went in the Dead March. The Dead March just walk. But they put us also in the train. And then the train arrived in Leipzig. If somebody went to Leipzig, it's a big city. In Leipzig, the train stopped because it was airplane alarm. It was like in the mid from this side, from the left side, was a line of airplanes, Russian airplanes, one after another, came to our train. By us in the car was the Shumerim, the guard who was watching us. The Germans running out of the train. In Germany, Endors has train bunkers in every train station. The Germans running, and we was in the car, in the train. We was locked inside. The Germans running. We knocked the door to get out, but they didn't open the door. We was locked inside. We killed there. I was holding a piece of bread in my hand, just wanted to swallow, just one before I die.
So the next day, we decided we're going home. The Russians are here. So we was a group, maybe about 30 people, and we started walking towards our house. But the Germans still, they were Umpaku Kozlia, in the hill. And of course was another hill, which they call it Petrochika. They were the Russian, and we are here in the middle. They start to shoot each other, the Russian, the German, and the German, the Russian, and we are here in the middle. We didn't know what to do. To run back means we run to the German. To run that means we run to the Russian. The German would shoot us. We was in such a bad situation. I remember my mom like hugging me and covering me. If a bullet should come to her, not to me. Finally, we backed out little by little, and we went back into hiding for another 2 weeks, I think, until everything quieted down and we can make it back home. We stood in the park, yeah. We were, I'm telling it, very sad. We was more hungry than we were sad. I mean, children, we were crying. We wanted to eat. There was nothing to eat. We was told to be quiet in order to survive. Otherwise, the Germans will hear that we were there, and the Germans went on top of us, and they will kill us.
I was advised to apply at a department store because they always hire extra help. I did speak English with a very English accent, which everybody made fun of. So I got a job wrapping gift package. They trained me to wrap gift package. And I know the people on my floor, there was lingerie, they were so wonderful to me. I mean, I had never experienced that before. On Christmas Eve, everybody came with a little gift. I couldn't believe it because at that point I was a sensation. I was a refugee person, and they never asked me what happened in Germany. Never did. But they all knew my background. They all knew, I have no family here, and they felt they want to do something. It was not a big one would give me beautiful handkerchief, another small box of cake, but each and everybody came with a little gift, and I have never forgotten that. And I thought that's what endeared me to the people of the United States right then and there, and I've never changed my mind. Glad to be one of them.
Well, what haunted me, still haunts me, will haunt me till the end of my life is, could I have done more to bring my parents here? That is the one thing that will always be with me. I don't know what I could have done. I can't tell you. I don't know. I don't know, was it a question of money? Was it political connections, which of course I did not have? I mean, all right, I was a refugee. I was screened in this country, but was there something I could have done? And I blame this country, because why not let the people in and then ask question later? If you have any undesirable, send them in the camps. Here, at least save their lives. course, we're doing it now. Now we're on the other extreme. Let everybody in, but better this way than the other way when their lives are in danger. Why ask all these questions that delay until it's too late? But as I said, to a certain extent, I blame myself. I don't know what I could have done, but maybe there was something I didn't do. It haunts me. Always will. All I can say is keep your eyes open. And if you see anything happen, I don't care how small an incident, do something about it. Don't wait until it grows into a big incident. And don't just say like we do, it will pass, because it doesn't. Anti-Semitism still exists. It's there. It rears its ugly head. Step on it. Whenever you see something, do something about it. Don't be afraid. This is a free country. The world should have learned something. It didn't. But it's up to us to be vigilant and see to it that it never happens again. And if we don't do it, nobody else is going to do it for us. That is for sure. That's all I have to say on that subject.
I had a very lovely and happy life. We were, in the summertime, we were going down to the lake, and we went to the place with the ship, and the ship went back and forth. And in the wintertime, we went to the lake that was freezed in, and we went ice skating. And on Sabbath, we would go there and we'd see the fishermen take out the fish from the lake. I had a very lovely grandmother who taught us knitting and embroidering and things like this. When I was a teenager, I had family who lived in the same city as my husband in Sopron. So in the summertime, they went to us, and in the wintertime, I went to them. Yes, the family had a very lovely communication from both my father's side and from my mother's side.
A typical Shabbos was like Friday afternoon. My mother always made shulot for Shabbos, and of course chicken soup. And then she couldn't make it at home, so she brought it to the baker, because he was baking bread. So he put the whole pot of shulot in the oven. It was there from Friday afternoon till the next morning. So we used to run, pick it up Shabbos after shul. We used to go and get the pot and the shulot. And it was a funny part about it, because we were very, very sport-minded children, especially my brother, who was playing on the international team in Israel. So once we pick it up and we bring it home. Meanwhile, the friends called us to play soccer. So I put the pot down, and there's a gate, make-believe gate. And so one of the friends came and put the pot over, hit the ball, the pot. The ball hit the pot, and some of the shulot spilled out. And I was scared, so I put the shulot back to the pot, and I brought it home. Then my father said to my mother, "How come you didn't select the beans? It's full of rocks." And we kept quiet. And I'm never going to forget that shulot. And that's one of the happiest memories of my life. And that's it.
I know I appreciate it all the more. There's no point to doing this. No point in making posters. They just rip them down. Don't people get arrested for this? I walked to the studio yesterday. All the way I felt like I was walking through a strange city. Not Berlin. That strange sun, it wasn't the Berlin sun. It was too bright. I found myself saying a prayer for protection. What's so great about democracy? Want to see a jolly twinkle? Please, that's nauseating. I know you think I'm a reactionary for feeling this way, but I feel it anyway. I feel...
Feel. So much feeling. Hold still. Waiting for a change.
Sounds dangerous.
It is dangerous.
Then I won't do it.
The party needs it.
There is no more party! There's no more party! Wake up! You're a painter, not a politician. You always were a painter, so start acting like one.
No. I'm not that kind of painter. Art is never enough. It never does enough. We will be remembered for two things: our communist art and our fascist politics. Did you ever wear identification?
Yes, right when they came in, we had to put on the Star of David.
How did that affect you?
It affected me because nobody was willing to interact with the Jewish people. And if you didn't put it on, you would be in big trouble. I remember my father, he didn't put the star on, and he went to collect money, and they caught him not wearing the star, and they kicked him, and they beat him. He came home that night, and it looked as if somebody had died. We all cried. That is when everybody started talking about getting out. But by then, it was too late. The children started thinking about getting out, and my brother, he put sugar in his pocket, put on a coat, and went out of the house. My sister, she went to go look for him. She never came back. Everybody who went to go look for them never came back. I was the only one left in my family.
So many dying was going on from every house. I remember next door, she had 2 children. One must have been 3, one must have been maybe 7. 2 little boys, such beautiful little boys. They both were dead. She took their talon and she went for the bread, standing in the line. And by mistake, I knocked on the door. And I opened the door and I went in and I see nobody. And I say, and I see the children's hands. And I ask where Mommy is, and they didn't talk. So I went and I opened the quilt and they were dead.
The rabbi said, we have to fear more danger, not from Hitler, he said. Hitler is a politician. He has to make this noise about anti-Semitism because actually what he wants to do is not kill the Jews, the rabbi would say. His main purpose and objective is to fight Soviet Russia, which was creating a big danger for not only for Germany, but for the whole world. At that time, he convinced even the superpowers like America, Britain, France to help Hitler to get arms and financial help to be able to get strong and stand up against the danger. You call it the Judeo-Bolshevik danger, which was coming there from the east. The rabbi said so that his purpose was to fight communism. We Jews should stay neutral at least, so that the 2 large powers, Germany and Russia, can fight each other and kill each other. And we should stay neutral, not to be on this side with Russia or this side with Germany.
You have to understand also again here, when I was in my town, still in the town, the Catholic priest came out watching the theatrical. He watched a theatrical episode. the Protestant minister was more of an intelligent person. He didn't come out. He didn't want to see what was going on. This is my observation. And here again, there were certain people around there screaming, Christ kills us. You are atoning for the sins of your fathers. We heard such a thing. And there were others who tried to give us the bread. They knew that we were hungry, we didn't have too much to eat. Tried to give us the bread, but the Hungarians, as soon as they saw something like this, they mixed into it. They built the population to get lost. And by the way, they took these people from these ghettos, from these places, early in the morning, when people are not around. They took us, in fact, I think it was a Saturday. I don't remember what day it was, one day before Auschwitz or 2 days before Auschwitz. I don't remember exactly. And then Jewish boys brought some bread. Everybody was given the bread.
We had very little, just to survive. Soup, a bit of bread and water.
Did you cook your own food?
We didn't cook our food, obviously. They had to cook.
Was your father able to pay him?
No, we had nothing left anymore. It was just lucky they asked nothing back from us.
Did you work on the farm?
Did we work? No. The neighbors were not friendly, you know. Ukrainians were not nice people. Before the Germans came in 1941, they rounded up all the Jews in the small little villages and killed them all.
So why do you think Vladimir decided to hide you then?
I don't know. Religion, maybe? He liked to say he was a good Christian, but maybe he was just stupid. If the Germans found out that he was hiding us, they would have killed his whole family.
So what did you do while hiding at the farm?
Nothing. Waiting for the day the Russians come back. We were in there for so long I couldn't even walk. I was just lying there, but slowly but surely I started to walk again.
How did you know the war was over?
I could hear the Russian planes fighting the German planes overhead, and the farmer, he told us that the Russians were back.
There was a situation with my baby brother. He was only 2 years old, and my mother had to give up her wedding band for a bottle of milk. It was just a terrible situation. And we thought if we didn't do anything about it, we would be found out. So my uncle, who was very familiar with the area, he was a cattle trader, and he knew a family who didn't have any children. And he said, let's just leave my little brother Pengus in the barn attached to their house, and they will take him in because they have no children. So we abandoned him there, and it was just the most terrible part of the war for my parents and for me. Later on, we found out that a Nazi shot and killed this little boy of 2.
One day I come home and I see my friends standing against the wall, shivering. And I said, Hugo, what's going on here? They didn't say a word. They kept quiet. Then I saw a middle-aged man standing across the room. And he said to me, you're also one of the people who live here. Get your stuff and get out. This was around 10 o'clock at night. So I said to him, please have mercy, it's 10 o'clock at night. If we go out now, the first corner, the police will stop us. We're finished. Let us leave in the morning. No way, he yelled, get out. So Hugo, he went on the floor. He was crying. Please have mercy, let us leave in the morning. No way, he yelled, get out. He didn't want to hear nothing. So I went to the kitchen and grabbed one of the biggest butcher knives he had. And I came to him with my knife and I said, you want to kill me? If you kill me, you're going to kill me right in front of your father-sitting father in your father's house. We're not moving until the morning. And then finally he let us stay.
And they didn't clean the streets, the blood. There was a terrible stench in the street because it was summertime. And all you saw was like rivers of blood, actually. Corpses all over the place. I remember one family with a blonde little girl laying
She must have been about 4 years old, with a red boner here, laying dead in the street. And I said to myself, I said, she's so young. What did they do that to her for? And I tell you, after they did that to us, I said to myself, why am I looking up to these people? Want to be like them? I thought being Jewish, it's bad. I don't see my people doing that. I had no more use for them. And I wanted to be Jewish more than ever. And the more I suffered, the more I wanted to be Jewish.
Something is happening over there.
What is it?
Claire left her place. I don't know why. Where's she going? I don't see her.
Sylvia broke ranks to use a ditch. A couple of the sticks started beating her, and Claire ran to pull Sylvia away from her to bring her back to the row. The couple left Sylvia and turned on Claire. She's striking on the head, on the chest, on her eyes. Oh, Claire's furious. She's giving it back to the capo, blow for blow, with her fists, with her feet. The other one won't stop either. I can't believe that Claire is so strong. There's another one coming. Claire is on the ground. 2 Furies are trampling her. It's Claire. They smashed her skull. Now they're leaving. It's finished.
We must go and get Claire.
They're giving the order to pick her up and then put her back in her place. 2 are going.
My God, do not let me become evil in this place.
Claire died for me. The 2 Furies wouldn't have left me alive if Claire hadn't diverted their blows.
All those who die here die with the others. You could say death must take its toll. It attacks the group. If the group is large enough, then some will be left. But the number diminishes every day. The screen between us and death tears more each day, and soon there will be nothing between us and death.
And soon it will be our turn. My turn.
You mustn't say it. Words become irrevocable once they're pronounced. It's only through blindness that we can hope. It's not courage that we need, it's blindness or madness. Our only chance is for each to say to herself, if there is one who returns, it must be I. And it's madness to say that to yourself, and none knows why she must return.
Oh yes, Agnes. To tell how the others died.
Do you think that is a sufficient reason?
The only one.
If there's only one who returns, I don't want to be her. What can she do, the one who returns, to start life again? Do you think you could start again, Gina?
I don't know. But if you think of the resources within ourselves and each other that we find to draw upon, to help us come out alive, you realize that we will find other resources to live again if we return.
No, Gina. We'll have left all our energy here. Nothing will remain. If we return, we will live without life.
Why is she breaking rank?
He called her.
Why?
Hush, Gina, we're all thinking it.
Her feet are swollen. Oh, enormous. It must be because of that. It's for Block 25.
Block 25 is the prison within the prison. Those who can no longer walk, those who don't die quickly enough within our ranks, are locked up there. They have almost nothing to eat, nothing to drink. 2 prisoners, strong ones. They are chosen by their build, and they are fed well for their work. Grab them by the legs or by the arms and put them onto the truck. The yard of Block 25 is walled in, but our box has a window that looks out onto it. We see the yard is covered in bodies. Every 3rd or 2nd day, a truck comes by and makes more room in Block 25. And the 2 prisoners are the ones who put them on the trucks. Why do they do that work? They are called the Heaven Commando. They are assured 3 months, reprieve, and then in turn they too will be gassed. Why do they accept that work? Because 3 months here is a long time. It is as long as all the future. None of us can see past 3 weeks, and they are assured 3 months. They say to themselves that in 3 months, the war will be over, and they will be free. But how will they live after having done that work? How dearly a man must cling to life having done that work. How dearly a woman must cling to life to kill Claire.
How dearly I must cling to life, to sit there and watch it happen without moving. We saw some of them leaving on the truck. And there are some who cry out, and their cries do not come from human throats. But most don't cry out. They don't have the strength anymore. You would think that they had given up if you did not see their eyes. You've never seen such terror in the eyes. Whom did they take?
Someone I don't know, a young one. I think it's one of our peasant girls. They took 3 from the next line, from the Polish women.
Comrades, I leave you my son.
Who will carry their words back to the world?
Then we came to Birkenau, to Auschwitz. But at that time, when the door opened,
What did you see?
when the door opened, we were standing in front of the crematorium.
Did you know what it was?
If I didn't know what it is, I got to know there because we're standing in front and the dark smoke was coming out from the big tall chimneys and the smell of burnt hair and burnt bones. You got to know what it is. And we knew what it is. And what's so sad, that's so terrible. We were standing in front with all the German around on SS, watching us. And every time a group of people came, that wasn't a selection that time. Old and young went together. But after been standing there couple hours, came a motorcycle with a German. And he ordered we should go back, to stop. For that day to take us to crematorium to stop. So we went back to the camp, to Birkenau. But standing there, I remembered one thing. We were standing in front, Helene and myself and many other women. And we were talking to Helene how horrible it is to be burned now, to be gassed. And we knew that time already. So I mentioned it to Helene. Helene, we agree, we should not go together. We not to stay together, not to see each other being gassed. Sorry, a moment. But then we went back to Birkenau. And they take off our clothes. We have to take off our clothes. And the chef shave our hair. And they give us the stripes clothes. And then we went to barracks.
Did they give you a number?
Yes.
Just at that time?
At that time, they gave us a number.
What were the treatment of you when you were...
Nothing. We don't get any meat and meal, nothing. It's amazing if somebody alive.
How long would you say you were on the train from Budapest to Bergen-Belsen?
15th December, I arrived to Bergen-Belsen. 11 days without food.
Without food? And water?
Without water, without food. Don't ask me.
Okay.
Nobody can imagine who don't go through on this kind of in Terezinasna very short time, 2 weeks, 2.5 weeks, and we liberated with the Russian soldiers, and we get food that time.
And when you got to Bergen-Belsen, what was...
What?
When you first arrived at Bergen-Belsen, what did you see?
Barracks. We went, I think we went 400 people on the train. And 400 people went to 2 barracks. One a man, and the other is a man and a woman together.
So when you arrived at Bergen-Belsen on...
That's, I think we lost the time, because if somebody doesn't go through, then you can't imagine what we went through.
And suddenly the door opened. Heraus, Uten, and we stepped down from the cattle car. And I take a look on the right-hand side, and I could never forget, it was a mountain of live people. It must have been an old age home. They were throwing one on the top of the other. They were begging for help and they were crying. I said to my mother, "Mother, look, what's happening here?" She said, "Don't look, my child." And we went further about a quarter of a block, and there was standing Mengele. We were already separated for the right away. They said that woman and man should stand separately. And I didn't even have time to say goodbye to my father and to my mother. And as we walked, Mengele was standing there with several SS soldiers and with the big wolves. They were pushing the people. I said, "I want to go with my mother." They were pushing me left and my mother right. No, I went to right and she went to left. And I never saw her ever since.
Mengele making selection every day, every other day. And my aunt used to go, I was in danger, I was skinny and pale. And we were standing in line for selection, and we were naked. We had to put our clothes like here, and he was standing. He was a tall man, and we had to turn around. And my aunt said we used to make our cheek red to look better. And once we were standing and turning around, and he said, "Or left or right?" And she was, "Don't be afraid." I was scared. And she was, "Don't be afraid. If they take you, I will go with you. Don't be afraid. Go straight. Pick up your head. Go straight." Once he stopped me. He stopped me here with a little stick. He stopped me with a white gloves. And he stopped me. He said, "How old are you?" I don't know why. I didn't think. I said 13. I said 13. I was already 17. I was 30, but I looked like 30. I wasn't a woman, nothing. And he let me go to the right. And he let me leave. So I'm the...
So he was right.
Yeah.
Joseph Mengele was right in front of you?
Yes, he stopped me. And he said, from the now on, my 13 is my lucky number. He asked me, "Vi alpistu?" He stopped me. And my aunt, she stopped breathing. So I said 13, 13. And he said, "Go to the right." And then my aunt, she started to kiss me. She was so happy I am here.
And we went 3 days, and 3 nights, and we arrived in Auschwitz. In Auschwitz, the train, they were separate, the youngsters from the mothers, then from the children. So, who went straight in the crematorium. Who went left, the girls, the young ladies without children went the left. So I was holding my mother's hand, and then look, when we went down from the train, our car was the next. Our car, they didn't separate. In front they separate, few cars, but by us, where I was, didn't. I didn't know that the girls had to go in another place, left. So I went straight with me, my mother, and my neighbors from home. We went straight, and I went already. I was already by the door in the crematorium. My mother went in already, and I give a look left, and I see all girls are going left. I said to my friend, her name was Suli, confess, take a look. We're not allowed to go with the mothers, they will beat us. Confess, we have to go where girls are going. So I catch the hand filled with shells, and we was running 2 blocks, and the whole 2 blocks left. The whole 2 blocks, it was soldiers in a line, and nobody stopped us. Nobody stopped. It's like inches. This was the first miracle I remained alive from the beginning. And then after this, the crematorium, I don't know if somebody was in Auschwitz. It was 2 doors. Both doors was the same. You didn't know if you go on the right or in the left. But in one room, was almost like this big room. In one room, the ceiling was installed like showers, but instead of showers came gas of the children and of the mothers. In the other room, they give, in fact, I was saved from the left and the children and the girls' side. I was next in the line for the girls' side. And we came in the door, and in came shower. All of us so afraid about the showers, and there was more camps in Auschwitz. I said, Suli, look, my mother is going. And I saw filming outside. And I truly hear her in Poland. Your mother? Look, your mother in the flame. From the crematorium came flame, the whole sky. Look, your mother is there. Then I lie down on the floor in the cement. And then I was knocking the head in the cement. And then I know what happened.
Ein Lezion Sophia, Kolo Afta Tikvatenu, Ha Tikva Bachnat Alpaim, Liotam Hofshi Beyatsenu, Eret Sion Verushalayim, Liotam Hofshi Beyatsenu, Eret Sion Verushalayim.
You think I know everything? All I know are facts. Life, death, truth. I returned for truth. For there, everything was true. Everything was stamped with truth, immortal truth. Clear and sharp without nuance or measure. Who could bear to face such cruelty in that truth? Close eyes forever? Or look on wide-eyed, wild-eyed? The light seared the eyes that dared to look. So why should I speak? For the things I would say to you could be of no use to you.
Thank you for hearing us, and thank you for carrying the work.
I was first with the underground, and I was a young kid, 11 years old. First I was with the underground, then I was captured in 1943. I was captured on my return from Hungary because Hungary was a safe haven. I used to help smuggle or Jews, escaping Jews from Slovakia and from Poland over the border during the night.
What did you do in the underground?
As I say, at first I delivered messages because I was good looking. I'm sorry, I had a proper looks, blonde hair, blue eyes. Delivered food ration coupons to underground contacts, adults, enabling them to buy food for Jews in hiding or hiding in the bunkers and in safe houses. I delivered alien papers, duly executed except for vital statistics, and these were distributed to Jews in hiding. I delivered the weapons to the partisans. I would drive away with 2 horses and return with 1 many times. And the weapons were hidden in wagons, on the sand, under wood, and hay. And then I began helping people across the borders, Jews, escaping Jews from Poland and Slovakia into Hungary.
What did you think of the play? I was very proud to open by quoting your letter, your Kristallnacht speech about how important it is to remember the inhumanity of the Holocaust.
Yeah.
How did you feel the students captured that?
I think it's wonderful. I think it was actually both heartwarming and heartbreaking all at the same time.
Well, how does it make you feel to see young people, even who are not Jewish, studying the Holocaust?
I always mention the non-Jewish individuals who perished. It's very important for them to know that it happened to them as well. There were 4,500 Jews in my town. There were 200 survivors. Where are the boys that I used to play with? They never grew up, never had a chance. You see, where are the slammelucht, the muizelucht, the jankelucht, you know? Where are they?
Thank you, Penny.
Hi, I'm Shelby Griffin. I'm an arts administration student at Wagner College. I am not Jewish, but I was a part of this learning community to learn more in depth about the Holocaust. We studied survivor testimonies and created monologues based off of our specific survivors and put on a cabaret performance for survivors and 8th grade students.
I'm Evan Krust. I'm a Jewish theater studies major here at Wagner College. I want to clarify that does not mean studying of Jewish theater. I'm just Jewish doing theater studies. And I think that this performance as a whole was really important to do, mainly because it allowed us to feel on a personal level victims of the Holocaust, because like Shelby said, we crafted our own monologues using survivor testimony recorded over a long period of time, and we used that. We got closer to these people, we understood them, we understood their struggle, and it's important to relay that to people, especially younger people, because most of our audience was, as Shelby said, 8th graders, and it's really important to just relay that on to the next generation so they know the struggle that occurred during the Holocaust. They know what happened, and they know that it's our job to teach it, it's their job to learn it, and it'll be their job to pass it on too. And it really is such an amazing experience, especially when we were standing next to Ben Wayne, a Holocaust survivor that came to see your show. It really puts things into perspective that this is genuinely an event that affected so many lives, and it's continuing to affect lives today, and that's why we need to pass this on to other generations.
Just to be able to speak to one Holocaust survivor and to shake one Holocaust survivor's hands or to ask them one question is an incredible honor, because we have to realize that in maybe 10 years or so, there won't be any more Holocaust survivors left. So to be able to be a part of this is a huge honor and a great opportunity, and I'm very thankful to have had this opportunity for this whole semester.
Hello, my name is Theresa McCarthy. I'm a theater professor here at Wagner College, and I was the acting guide for the students in our learning community. We were learning about the Holocaust, and we studied survivors from Staten Island, and we studied their video testimony and performed a piece of that as a monologue. Each of the 20 students did. The thing that I hope that the students would take from it most especially is a real heartfelt emotion, feeling from the testimony of the living person, that they would experience the story in the same way that the survivor who was telling it would experience it, and on a deeper level, that it would be something that would stay with them for a long time.
I just can't say enough how proud I am of this class of students at Wagner College and of Theresa McCarthy, who directed them and made this all possible. When I saw the pieces that the students had chosen, I could not get over how all the scholars in the world, just you can't match the impact of the testimony, the eyewitness survivor testimony that tells us how did the Holocaust happen and who was affected, what the losses were, and how it was a burden that the survivors carried for the rest of their lives. In the theater, the students have to be active. They become the survivor, and they become the survivor's voice. They become the survivor's surrogate. There's certain moments of the performance of Suzanne Sauer's ice skating before the war with her Jewish cousins, and running through the ghetto and seeing a 4-year-old girl with her red bow in her hair who's been killed by the Nazis. The arc of smoke that the survivors remember seeing coming from the gas chambers. I mean, these are really haunting images that the students have captured and will carry with them forever. And the students themselves pick the title of the play, We Will Carry the Word, because they really are taking on this as a responsibility, as a moral and ethical compass that the Holocaust provides for whatever place in life they find themselves. This is a place they can go back to and know that they can't be bystanders, that they have to act. To bring it to a class at New Ventures who are from extremely diverse, underprivileged backgrounds on Staten Island, and to bring it to a class of students from Manhattan Day School. We really hope to carry this message around the city and in collaboration with the Holocaust Theater International Initiative around the world. So we thank Arnold Middleman, who's director of the National Jewish Theater Foundation, who approached us to collaborate and use Shoah testimony to bring survivors' stories to life, their experiences, their tragic journeys, and then the need to remember Zachar.
Hi, my name is Shaylin O'Keefe. I'm a freshman here at Wagner, and I'm a theater and childhood education major. And just learning about Holocaust survivors and just picking every aspect out of their testimonies and learning about their whole life was just amazing to portray on stage. Today I did my monologue on Hannah Steiner, and my monologue was about, it was arguably one of the most emotional monologues throughout the whole cabaret, and it was about her experience seeing her mother dying 2 weeks after liberation, and her being extremely sick at the time, and the people who were rescuing her didn't do much other than bring food that wasn't even what they were supposed to eat, because everyone there was malnutrition in the camp. So it was all about her mother, and I related to that a lot because she speaks about in her testimony, her and her mother are 17 years apart, which is the same thing with my mother, and they had a really close relationship, which again is the same thing with my mother, and it was just really touching to hear her story and her relationship with her mother, and then learning about her death. I think the most important issue and lesson to take from this class is the issue of being a bystander. I think it's really important to learn about, even in relation to like politics now and all the issues surrounding like the political views now and refugees and all that kind of stuff. A lot of countries during the Holocaust turned a blind eye to Europe and all the atrocious events that came out of the Holocaust, and it's just to think if those countries were paying attention to what was happening in Europe and had any interest in helping those people, maybe millions of people wouldn't have died. So this song, Erev Shoshonim, I learned my junior year in my chamber choir, so we did it. And once Professor Weintrob emailed us and asked to have a Hebrew song, if we had one, to put together for the performance, I knew exactly what to bring. I went to school at Valley Central High School all 4 years, which is in Orange County, New York, which is about an hour and a half from Staten Island.
And I went to Tottenville High School, which is right there. Especially as a Jewish student, when I have family members, like my cousin's great aunt is a Holocaust survivor. She survived Auschwitz, and throughout my life I've seen her suffer. It's just so moving to be able to be a part of something like this.
Shoshanos